There is a man who survived being cut in half. Not metaphorically, not spiritually. Literally bisected at the waist by a lightsaber, left to fall into a reactor shaft on a dying planet. And he clawed his way back, through madness, through the dark, through sheer white-knuckled refusal to release what had been done to him. Most people, when they hear that story, call it strength. The Tao Te Ching calls it the most dangerous trap a human being can fall into. Darth Maul, the Shadow Lord, the man who just returned in a new chapter on Disney+. He is not a villain in the traditional sense, scheming, laughing, twisting his moustache. He is something far more interesting. He is a warning, a 2,500-year-old warning, wearing red and black war paint, still running headfirst into the same wall. This video is not about hating him. It's about understanding him. Because the Tao doesn't ask us to judge, it asks us to see clearly. And when you see Maul clearly, through the lens of Lao Tzu, something uncomfortable becomes visible. You've met this man before, not in a galaxy far, far away. In the mirror, in the relationship you couldn't walk away from, in the career you kept forcing, in the version of yourself you refused to let die so something better could be born. Lao Tzu wrote, "To hold and fill to overflowing is not as good as to stop in time." Simple words, almost too simple. Until you watch a man spend 4 decades pouring rage into a vessel that was already full, wondering why he keeps burning his hands. The Tao Te Ching is not a book of rules. It is a description of how reality actually moves. Like water, like wind, like the slow erosion of stone. It describes the principle of Wu Wei, effortless action, moving with the current of life, rather than against it. Not passivity, not weakness. The most sophisticated form of power that exists. Think of bamboo in a storm. It bends, dramatically, completely, until it is nearly horizontal. And when the wind passes, it returns, upright, unbroken. The oak tree resists. The oak tree in the great storm falls. Maul is the oak. He has always been the oak. And Shadow Lord is the latest storm. The thesis of this video is simple. Darth Maul, across every series, every comic, every animated arc, and now in this new show, is the single greatest cinematic argument for Taoist philosophy ever committed to screen. Not because he embodies it, because he spends his entire existence violating it, and the universe responds accordingly, every single time. Let's begin. He did not choose this life. That matters. Not as an excuse. The Tao does not traffic in excuses, but as context. Maul was taken from his mother as a child by Darth Sidious, shaped like a blade, sharpened against pain, isolation, and a singular purpose, to serve. To be a weapon in another man's hand. The Tao Te Ching, chapter 16, says, "Return to the root is called stillness. Stillness is called returning to one's destiny." Maul never had the chance to find his root. His destiny was written by someone else's hand before he could speak. And then, on Naboo, that destiny was interrupted. Obi-Wan Kenobi, a lightsaber, a shaft of fire, and in a single moment the weapon became a broken thing. Here is where the story truly begins. Not on Tatooine, not in Mandalore, here, in the moment after the fall. Because what Maul did in that moment, what he chose with whatever shred of consciousness remained, was to grip, not to release, not to let the current carry him wherever it would. He grabbed hold of the one thing he had left, hatred, and he used it like a life raft. Chapter 44. Fame or self? Which matters more? Self or wealth? Which is more precious? Gain or loss? Which is more painful? Maul chose hatred over healing, obsession over release. And the Tao is not punishing. It simply, inevitably, reflects your choices back at you. Watch his arc through the Clone Wars. Watch him rebuild. Watch him seize Mandalore. And watch it taken from him again. Watch him lose his brother Savage. Watch him build the Shadow Collective. And watch it crumble. Every time he grips something, it either breaks or is taken. Not by bad luck, by the nature of gripping itself. Chapter 9. Stretch a bow to the very full and you will wish you had stopped in time. His obsession with Obi-Wan is not simply about revenge. Revenge would be clean, finite. This is something else entirely. Obi-Wan represents the moment the universe said no to Maul, and Maul has never, not once, accepted that answer. Chapter 22. Yield and overcome, bend and be straight. Maul bends for no one, he straightens for no one, and so the universe continues to break him. Chapter 76. A man is born gentle and weak. At his death he is hard and stiff. Green plants are tender and filled with sap. At their death they are withered and dry. By the time Shadow Lord begins, Maul is hard, he is dry. He is a man made entirely of scar tissue, held together by a purpose that was never his to begin with. This is the most expensive way to live. Shadow Lord just dropped. And if you've watched it, you already felt it. That strange, heavy déjà vu of watching someone walk into the same room they've been burned in before. New planet, new power structure, new apprentice, same Maul. The show doesn't need to tell you he hasn't changed. It shows you in the way he moves through a room, in the way he looks at the people around him. Not as people, but as instruments, as extensions of his will. His apprentice in Shadow Lord is not a student to him, not a person with their own current, their own route, their own destiny. To Maul, the apprentice is a tool for a purpose the apprentice doesn't fully understand yet. Sound familiar? It should, because Maul was that tool once. This is what the Tao calls the cycle that does not break until someone chooses to break it. The apprentice functions as a mirror in Shadow Lord. Whether the writers intended it or not, it doesn't matter. Great storytelling always tells the truth about human nature, even when it thinks it's telling a different story. What you see in this apprentice's arc is Maul's own reflection. The molded, the shaped, the used. And Maul cannot see it, cannot or will not. And at this point in his life, the distinction no longer matters. Chapter 33. Knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment. Maul knows his enemies with terrifying precision. He reads power structures, identifies weaknesses, calculates angles. He is by any measure intelligent, but he does not know himself. He has never sat still long enough to look. The Tao requires stillness. And Maul has been in motion, furious, unrelenting motion, since he was a child. Here is the truth about Maul's failure that has nothing to do with strength or strategy. He is fighting the current, not Obi-Wan, not the Jedi, not the Empire. The current. The natural flow of a universe that has, again and again, indicated with tremendous clarity that the path he is on does not lead where he wants to go. The river does not negotiate. It does not respect your grievance, or your credentials, or the injustice that was done to you upstream. It simply moves, and you can exhaust yourself fighting it, or you can learn to read it. Maul has never learned to read it. This is why he cannot win. Not because he is outmatched, because victory, true victory, requires a relationship with reality as it is, not as you demand it to be. Maul has spent his entire life demanding. The universe has spent his entire life answering. He just hasn't listened to the answer. Imagine another version of this man. The same raw power, the same survival instinct, the same discipline that allowed him to rebuild himself from madness on Lotho Minor. Imagine that man, after the fall on Naboo, doing something different. Not revenge, not obsession, stillness. Imagine Maul releasing the blade, not the lightsaber, the identity, the role of the wronged man, the sacred wound he polished every day to keep it fresh. What would that life look like? We'll never see it on screen, but the Tao can describe it. A man moving with his nature rather than against his history. A man whose power serves life rather than feeds on grievance. A man who becomes finally the water instead of the stone. Now, turn the lens. Where are you, Darth Maul, right now? What are you gripping that has already left? The relationship that ended but lives rent-free in your chest. The version of yourself you built in your 20s that no longer fits. The grudge that gets you out of bed in the morning. Not because it motivates you, but because without it, you're not sure who you are. The Tao does not ask you to pretend the wound didn't happen. It asks something harder. It asks you to stop letting the wound be the story. Wu Wei is not giving up. Wu Wei is the recognition that the most powerful thing you can do is stop adding your force to a direction that reality is not moving in. The warrior who wins is not the one who hits hardest. It is the one who knows when to stop swinging. The force does not reward the man who grips hardest. It moves through the man who releases most completely. Maul never learned this. Across 6 seasons, across Shadow, Lord, across 40 years of story, he never loosened his grip. And what should have been a life became a monument to resistance. You are not a monument. You are still moving, which means you still have the choice he never made. I'm the abundant monk. This is Pillar 1, the Tao. If this landed, stay close. There is more to come.